Before we start, let me welcome everyone first. Good morning, Dr. Bamini.
Good morning, Dr. Yanti and everyone.
How are you today?
Really good.
This session is recorded, yeah, and I do believe that some of the students are actually currently working, but they message me that they will be watching later after work or in between work, yeah. So before we go further, let me introduce our speaker for today, which is Dr. Bamini Balakrishnan. Yeah, Dr. Bamini is a lecturer, senior lecturer in University Malaysia Sabah, um, in the program of marketing. Yeah, her PhD is more into marketing and consumer well-being, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Bam, is that so? Or would you like to introduce yourself later? And she is also an alumni of UMS and also graduated from, her PhD is from RMIT, Australia, yeah? And today's topic is on student well-being, yeah? It's about this topic, when you talk about student well-being, the well-being of postgraduate research students is increasingly a topic of national, or I can say the concern of everyone, yeah, with frequent reference in the press and talking about how important for the students to manage, to make sure that they are okay during their studies, you know. And I receive, as a coordinator, I also receive a lot of, not a lot lah, there are a few of concern on this matter. And some of the things that they voice out is how to juggle between roles, being part-time students, and dealing with imposter syndrome. And there's also those uncertain of the prospect of their career in the future. So these are the things that they were talking about. Some of them were talking about. But without further ado, let us go directly to Dr. Bamini. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for that humble introduction, Dr. Yanti. And it's my great pleasure to be here today and even to address this imperative issue that is of a concern, like Dr. Yanti mentioned, because even though this is postgraduate series, perhaps some of you are looking for technical explanation of things like literature review, but then I think it is a good start off of the year to even starting to talk about this very important issue. Perhaps people don't come forward to discuss about it at times. You don't have a platform even to talk about it, but that is why personally, it's my great interest talking about well-being, not only the consumer well-being, but then looking into, again, our sustainable development goal. We need to look into the well-being of our society, and the postgraduate student or the higher degree research student are a great asset to the university. And how is it important for you and for us as the faculty to be concerned and care for your well-being. So that was my idea when I was asked what I can contribute. Apart from, again, academic context of the whole postgraduate studies, I thought I will talk about the well-being of the student. So let me just share. Of course, we have the PowerPoint. Perhaps we can all be part of it, and we don't have a bigger number today, and that is absolutely fine, because it is good for us to talk and share about it. Maybe there are perspectives I did not touch, and you have some perspective that you can share. Please put up your hands and share with us so that we can all learn about it. We can all work towards the well-being of each other. All right, so for that, I would like to thank again the postgraduate section of the faculty and the entirety of the university. And I I assume that it is being played live, and also you can watch it later whenever you want to, and you can encourage people to watch it if it made any brought any benefit to you in that sense. So before we go further, talking about the student well-being, yeah, let us just run this. If probably I need to give you the link so that we can do this voting on what is well-being to you. What does it mean to you as a postgraduate or as a higher degree research candidate or as a person itself? So this is the link. Perhaps if you go to that link, and I will take you there as well. And if you can do your voting, and we will see, and each of you can contribute about 3 adjectives or 3 words that describes well-being to you. It's playing this earlier. Okay, so I will start the presentation, and then perhaps if you can participate, you can, and those words will come up here. You're able to do that? If anyone could give me feedback if you're able to go to that Mentimeter and do it.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can. I
it's
can.
working.
Yeah, I
All
can
right.
view it, doctor, and participate in it.
Yeah. Should be working. Yeah, sir, it's coming up, right? We can all see. Stress-free life. We have focus, peace of mind, healthy body, balanced lifestyle, physical health. So the bigger the adjectives or terms are, so that is the most contributing from your perspectives here. Right, so we can see good life. It's interesting, and it's subjective, right? Good life, to define good life, we will look into all of that in a while. But okay, if this is the context that has come up, then you see good life is oh, there is more. Yeah, you can keep contributing because each of you can contribute 3 adjectives.
Someone posted money over there, Dr. Bam.
Yes, yes, because financial health is part of well-being. We
Exactly.
cannot
Yeah.
deny that as well. Money can buy coffee, you know, coffee is happiness. I always say, if you can't buy happiness, you buy coffee.
And go travel, with the money that you have.
So, all right. So we don't, if this is the number, then, so let this remain here, and let us just look at this adjectives that has come up. Like again, the major thing is good life, and we can look at happy, happiness perhaps, and also the rest are equally distributed within. Yeah, so that means most of you have voted for stress, focus, balance in life, clear mind, peace of mind, good working environment, that's so important, positive mind. And again, good working environment is such a challenge for us, because for us to come back to the university environment and to co-work with our colleagues, it's been a challenge lately for the last 2 years, and that also could be a factor that affects our well-being sometimes. Social dimension is such an important aspect to our life. So this is what you have put in, and this is what we are going to discuss anyway today, right? In a deeper context, perhaps. All right, so let me stop sharing this and go back to the slides. So how are you all? If I ask, how are you all today? Could you all just put some expression in the chat box? How are you all? Are you okay? Are you happy? If each of you can just respond to the chat box about your well-being. Wow, there's expression. They are not even using the chat box. They are using the emoji to express, which is good. I'm seeing smiling expression, heart coming out, okay, which is showing a real good, someone is laughing away, you know, so that's a good expressions. And I am very glad to see such expressions. But also there are somebody crying, the crying emoji. Yes, we don't have to always answer someone that we are okay if we are not okay. And that is okay to feel not okay at times, you know, and that is so common in our higher degree research. There are days we can, and they have done research that people manage sometimes their PhD stress by flowing out tears. It happens, huh? It's part of the process. I will share that bit in a bit. Now, some of the, okay, this is, we have done the voting, right? Now, let me just touch about well-being. And here some of the definitions I give, perhaps from, again, World Health Organization. You can look into those references I've made here. Otherwise, some of it are from my personal experience. It's anecdote. It cannot be one formula fits all when it comes to how to manage the stress later. But it's just a reminder that it's not an absolute idea. It's some of it are from the research and some is from my own experiences, being an academic and being gone through the journey. So I'm just sharing that in this platform today. And it's not anything formal. As I said, it's just a sharing session, and you can always put up your hand and share more if you want to. So looking into the World Health Organization, looking into health context itself, they are looking not only that means we are not sick. The entire last 2 years, I never had COVID. I am very healthy. Can we say that? But it's not only the physical component, but it looks into the mental health well-being, and that is a major thing among the doctoral candidates and masters by research, right? Also, I'm not undermining people who are doing by coursework, but that's 1 year process and they will finish it. They have a book. But then the other process is the research entirety from masters for 2 years, maybe PhD, you're doing it for 3 years, 5 years, maybe 6 years now, you're into it. Where is it going? And those mental stress is higher, and we will look into what are the causes of that stress, if you can relate to those causes that I'm going to talk about. But anyway, well-being means I am really well physically, mentally, and socially. You know, some people say, I just want to isolate myself for the rest of 3 years and not communicate to anybody because this is my lone journey. I have to do this PhD. So socially, there is no well-being. Then you lack on social well-being. That doesn't show your entirety of well-being. So this is our three contexts that we look into: physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Okay, and there are two dominating perspectives when people are researching about well-being. And also these are the contexts they also look into when they research about student well-being, undergraduate student, postgraduate, postdoctoral, doctoral candidates. There are a lot of research being done, and it is not my field of research, but it is my field of passion. Okay, so I take, because I've seen a lot of people suffer from mental health disorders or mental health issues during their PhD with my colleagues. I've seen, we've been part of the support, yet it is not an easy journey for them. And also there are family members who are affected by these crises as well. Okay, so they look into psychological or eudemic well-being, whereby you look into this is very deeper, but PhD tend to do that to you. Okay, masters by research also can. You will start questioning your entire life. But that is part of the journey, that looking into your true nature, what is your true potential. And a PhD is one of the way that you can realize your true potential. Again, by realizing the philosophy that you're holding upon your research. Are you a pragmatic? Are you a person who can derive something and then show significant support to what you're deriving out from the universe, from your environment? So, and how you are going to set a purpose for life. And what deep question, what is the purpose of, that means it can go to a point you question your existence in this life. So that, and coming to an acceptance and understanding is part of a well-being. It means kadang-kadang kita akan rasa we are so lost. What is the purpose of my life doing all this? We can come to that point, but also to have healthy discussion. What purpose I have with my life brings well-being to you. Right? These are the things they see. It's a psychological context, and then also the subjective norms. Again, how satisfied are you with life? How are you enjoying life? What makes you content? Okay, again, it is also very subjective, yeah, because here, if you see health and well-being, we are talking about emotional well-being, evaluative well-being, all right, meaning and purpose, creating a meaning and purpose to life, and that is itself a bigger subject. And mental health and physical health. These are some of the components, and part of it later we will look into again. Financial health is part of your social health, socio-economic health that we talk about. So this is the two larger perspective when it comes to well-being, apart from the physical health that we are talking about. And again, both perspectives are distinct, but yet they are mutually exclusive, but also complementary to each context, because finding the meaning and purpose and your true nature has got to do something to do in defining your own happiness and satisfaction. That leads to your higher meaning of life and purpose. So talking about, again, subjective well-being, that's one of the interests here, is to define a person's cognitive journey from your childhood until now. How do you define well-being? Like just now, right? You were talking about few aspects. That's the word that you use. But if you were to write a paragraph about well-being for yourself and define it, and how you measure it. And usually people measure from how positive you are about things, how do you handle when you're affected by some scenario in life. And as a PhD candidate or a master's by research candidate, we always face criticism, right? How personally do we take those criticism? Or I am able to have a very proactive attitude towards it. Kadang-kadang so tension. Somebody said something, one word about the research, and then become so stressed and the entire day gone. My whole mood is gone because this person said this about my research. How well they know? How well are they informed about your research? Perhaps it's just a perspective, opinion, but how am I taking it? That is what we are talking about, subjective well-being, in terms of, again, life satisfaction, and how we can assess how I think, how I feel about the quality of life and my surroundings, perspective, and opinions of others. That is where the subjective well-being comes in. Now, this is a reflection. Have a look at this map. Most of my images will be from the PhD comics because it's very interesting and it's very realistic at times of what we go through. So now, most of the time, right, even before going, we want to go for a vacation to relax. But then most of the time we start with stress because we said we are going to for a vacation because there is stress. But then we are trying to do everything as much as possible with your PhD work, with your master's work before going for that relaxation holiday. But then once you go holiday, now you want to look into the email, check the phone constantly to see whether your supervisors have given you feedback, what is happening to your data, then existential crises, thinking about your own life, worry about all the things you have to do when you go back. And then at some point, you become so relaxed that you think, oh, I don't want to even go back to that desk again. Let me just say, let me just stay here. This is so nice. Can I have this holiday forever? And then comes all the messages in your WhatsApp group in WhatsApp. Okay. And most of it are unnecessary, unproductive messages, but you still look at it and read it. And then you realize when you're returning and you're coming back, actually nobody bothered whether you went for a vacation or not. Right? And does that mean your vacation is useless or my life itself, gone? The point, my question here is, if you reflect on this vacation image, right? Did you really relaxed? Most of the time, do we really, really enjoy and be at the present and do one thing at a time and move on to the other? So that is the challenge always for a PhD student. Yeah, our mind is so wired and it's everywhere. Okay, so that will bring into stress and anxiety. Okay, enjoy this image here, but there is again a lot of research that has been done to look into, like Dr. Yanti mentioned just now, candidates experience stress, anxiety, and depression while studying at the university. Okay. Not sure how many of you would agree to this, but if you have seen your friends are going through stress, or you yourself, you don't have to say yes or no here, but reflect about it. What is your level of stress right now? How anxious are you? Because I've seen, and the anxiety comes in at this point, sometimes at the beginning of the candidature. There, every tahap of the candidature, the stress level is different, and especially during the submission time. At the end of the thesis, like to put the entire thesis together and what happens at that time. And Dr. Sylvester, I totally agree. He says he agrees, in my experience, although went to vacation, writing still going on and writing still happening, or if we are still thinking about our paper and the writing, right? Constantly, perhaps sometimes we carry that even after that in our life. Sometimes, yeah. Now what are the things, like earlier people were talking about physical environment that is so important. Okay, it is related to the institution atmosphere again, as how well you are supported at the university level, at the faculty level, in terms of your processes, in terms of to understand the entire candidature process is so important, and not having that understanding can actually cause stress as well. Do you know what to do when you come in? Do you know what are your role as a PhD candidate or master's candidate? What are the facilities that you can access to? What are the support you can get from the faculty? And not getting those support as well can cause stress and anxiety. Okay, and faculty members, how well you are interacting with the faculty members, All right, what is your exchange? Kadang-kadang, because in Malaysia, that is one thing I can say, based on the cultural research study, when it comes to, we are very power distanced. Okay, so the problem is when the faculty members have a power distance with the PhD candidates and the master's by research candidate, the communication is not friendly, and sometimes it can create a lot of fear and boundary setting. Boundaries is okay to have the boundaries between an academic, but then to have fear to approach any lecturers, to have a chat with them, those things can also contribute to stress, and especially with your own supervisor. Okay, we will come to that. So student, colleagues, and mode of education, again, part-time, full-time, because there is other variable. You can be having a family with 3 children, single mother, doing a PhD, working at the same time, and doing a full-time PhD can be also very stressful, can create a lot of anxiety. And it is generally believed that HDR students show more stress and anxiety in thesis writing than in other stages of their study life. Sometimes people have anxiety when they want to do their proposal defense as well. Kan? Every time you want to go and present something, people will have anxiety and stress too. So, and then major causes of stress here. Okay, if you look at this picture, right? Can you all look at that picture, and are you able to relate? Not only because this the reason that can cause stress is, again, problem is thesis supervisors, right? That means, again, your relationship with your supervisor and your communication flow with your supervisor is so imperative. And if that goes wrong, that creates a lot of stress. And your personal time, like how you're managing your time, and then the work field and the topic of your research, and also conflicting with the role that you play at the family level, at the work level. Okay, role conflicts. See here, people are doing PhD and the mother want you to have children. Like, when are you, this interesting questions from the society, right? When are you going to get married? How long are you going to do your PhD? How long is this going to go? What are you going to do next? When are you getting married? When are you going to have children? All right. So this role conflict from the society as well can bring a lot of stress. Okay. And so perhaps if you look at this comic, you might relate how you have been responding to your family as well. Okay. And then what happens when we have stress and anxiety, and if we don't address the stress and anxiety, is eventually it will become a vicious cycle. Okay. Stress and anxiety can be the earliest causes of improper academic performance, because fear, anxiety, stress, and then I cannot do my work. Look at the signs. Let's look at the signs that you can look up for during the major cause of stress. But before that, before I present the signs, do you all mind to share what are the signs of that cause you stress? Or if you have seen it in others that causes stress, if you can share in the chat box. So let it be a bit of interaction here. So let us hear from all of you. What could be the cause of, or what are the signs we can look for? What shows that someone is stressed or you are stressed? Not eating enough. Okay. That's interesting. Yes, definitely. That is a major sign. Okay. Major signs of anxiety and depression at times. Easily triggered. Yes. Not happy with everything. Tired, yes. Very good. More? We have 40 participants. I'm sure we can hear more feedbacks, right? Tears suddenly flow while sleeping. Yeah, cannot sleep. Mm-hmm. Shivering not non-stop when face problem, bringing PC to bed and car. Okay. Overthinking. Hmm. We have all the signals and that's all correct. Yeah, nothing, and perhaps more than what I am going to share. We are receiving more feedback, Alan. Yeah, like you withdraw, loneliness, anxiety. All right, that's great. And there will be more. You can keep sharing while you look at this, the next slide that I'm going to present, because that's going to show signs to look for. Okay. You see this comic again, very interesting. You know, you just become panic. But this doesn't look right. So, no, there must be something wrong with the data, which means there's something wrong with what I'm doing, which means there's something wrong with me. You know, again, you will end up questioning your entire existence and life. My data and my life are insignificant, you say, you know, and rather than being able to look and find the right solutions, because again, when we are working with data, everything is there. It's about how well you are able to, as a researcher, interpret the data that is there, how able you are able to, again, take your data through a proper procedure and process, and not knowing all that. Okay, so end of the day, science, constantly feeling you can't work hard enough, like again, anxiety, and you are bringing your laptop till to the bed, but you're not satisfied with the work you're doing, feeling overwhelmed by the workload, and then keeping feeling overwhelmed and not doing anything. Yes, and then that will go again into the vicious cycle. Then you'll come to a point you say, my life is not working, this PhD is not working, this master's is my thought, something wrong with my topic, something wrong with my supervision, some, you know, every overthinking. Somebody mentioned overthinking, and we will end up in those mode, feeling overwhelmed by the workload, feeling like you are not working for your true ability, your inability to focus. You do so many things, but you don't focus and do one the other. Kejap buat data, kejap pergi tulis literature review, and then, you know, that means there is no focus time, feeling like nothing you do has any impact and that you have no control over your life. Your PhD has taken control over your life. Okay. And sometimes, like Dr. Sylvester just now mentioned, cannot eat. Very basic physiological needs cannot be met. Waking up from the bed would be so difficult because I have to look at my thesis. Okay. And of course, sometimes we have talked about, to my colleague, I said, oh, how I wish tomorrow morning when I wake up, my thesis is done. You know, my thesis is complete. Those kind of feelings will be there, and I've spoke about it. And but then at the end, when you really see the thesis, it will happen that there will be one day you wake up and your thesis is done. But there is much other process to look into during that time. We will look into it. Okay, feeling that even easy things have become difficult for you, and constant feeling of fear of failure. Okay, and that is common and that is normal, because we are not sure of our procedures at times. We are not sure of our methods at times. And the best thing, again, earlier, also Dr. Sylvester pointed out, communication is a very important skill, right? Communicating, being well informed. We will see how we can cope with all this, yeah, in a bit. Okay, constant fear of failure, or this thing, you're fine, your PD is okay, you go collect your data, but then once you're analyzing the data, the stress might come in. And then once you want to write your conclusion to the thesis, because again, the conclusion part of the thesis is your greatest contribution to the entire thesis. Otherwise, methodology, we can refer to people, literature, we derive from the previous work, we can write that well, the methodology, we can emulate and improve our methodology. But then what is the finding and writing the conclusion and the originality of your work comes in, that's where you will start questioning, because yeah, so what do we do at that point of time? So, and then you have fear of failure, that feeling like you don't belong in a PhD program. Suddenly, you are the one who would have suggest the topic in the beginning, and then at the end or in the middle you say, oh, this is not my field, this is not what I want to do in life. Those kind of things would come, and that you will be found out because I'm not using the right, can people find out, am I manipulating the data? This kind of also overthinking would come, and people will find out things. Why would we have that fear of people would find out? Okay. And physical or mental exhaustion, someone like Suraya was mentioning, constantly tired, okay, mentally tired, physically tired, all the time sitting and typing, not sitting in the right posture, not having a proper posture, even when we are writing for a long period of time, also can cause all these physical or mental exhaustion. So these are the signs, and if you really reflect, and don't have to come again, sure, put up your hand, I have all these signs or what, but please pay attention, be aware of it, and do something about it. Yeah. Don't be quiet about it. We need to take the next measure. What can we? Because leaving the signs for too long, again, can take you into a real loop of constant anxiety, panicking, and other mental health disorders. Okay. So, and that is, again, my concern. Yeah. Sorry. So now, shall I just break out, put you all into a group just to talk about this among a smaller group, just for about 5 to 7 minutes. All right, I'm going to just stop this for a while before we go for the solution part and the next part of the talk. So I thought I will just put you all in a random groups so that you can have a chat, even though if you can't on your camera, but in that small group, probably 5 in a group, maybe whoever is hosting these, they could do that. Maybe Puan Elizabeth, if you can assist, and just put everyone randomly in a group. Let me just explain. Randomly in a group, okay, so maybe 5 of you, and have get to know each other and just talk about these issues perhaps to each other. What are the things you normally find? And then we will talk about the coping mechanism to that. Will that work? Because perhaps if I ask in a larger scale, it's not intimate enough for you to share, but in a smaller group with a stranger, you might meet them after this, you might not meet. You don't have to go to intimate details, but just to talk about the level of stress and anxiety in terms of your PhD or master's journey. Okay, so we will do that. Puan Elizabeth, is that okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Thank you. We will do it just to 5 to 7 minutes. Not that everybody have to talk, but at least participate enjoy the process for a while. Talk about it. I'll meet y'all in another 5 to 7 minutes, if that happens.
Dr. Bamini,
Yes, Dr.
you
Yanti.
yourself is taking into meditation, right? Even
Sorry?
before you yourself attend,
Yeah,
meditate.
I am an instructor and I teach
Okay.
that as my volunteer work. I will come to that in a
Even
bit.
before your PhD, if I'm not mistaken, right? You
Yeah.
are an active instructor.
Yes, yes.
So that fascinates me. I always ask you, what do you do during meditate, right? Because
Yeah, we will come to that in a bit.
okay,
But let us have that, like perhaps if they can go into that small group and have a small discussion among each other in terms.
okay,
Okay, it's not any directed instruction I have. You talk about stress or you talk about coping mechanism. You just get to know these small groups of people that Elizabeth is going to put into, right? It's activity time. Unless she gives me the hosting power. Okay, if I am hosting, perhaps I can do that. Okay, assign. I'm gonna just do. There is 40, so I'm gonna put in 8 groups times by 5. Assign everyone randomly. Okay, I'm creating that assignment right now, and so we will start the breakout session just for 5 to 7 minutes. Whoever you are meeting up, then you just have a chat with them, either in the chat box or in the voice, like you're meeting friends, have a chat about this topic of well-being, yeah?
We are not done just now. Never mind. So exciting to talk. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've realized that when I put people into smaller breakout groups, there's more interaction happens rather than that's again another challenge in our Asian culture that even you might feel that there's a power distance between me and you. So it's difficult for people to really have an interaction in a larger group or even with those whoever's in front sharing. But that's all right. Things can change. And but then when I put them into smaller group, there's a lot of discussions going on. And I really hope you enjoyed that a few minutes of session and you got to know someone new today. Over that period of time. So let us go back again, right? And perhaps one or two of you want to share what was the major things that was discussed, unless if you discuss about what you're going to eat later after the session or what. That's can be considered as well, some good healthy discussion too. At least you're talking about eating because eating can be a problem during the stress. Okay, but any other things that some of the highlights that was spoken within that 5 minutes, if anyone want to highlight, please do that in the chat box. I encourage that if you can share what was the essence of your discussion, even for the 5 to 6 minutes period of time. So let me move on back to the PowerPoint that I was like looking into the science just now. Now, the next thing that we are going to, and also another bigger context, because we are focusing on this higher degree research candidates, yeah. So thesis as a major, they have also found out, okay, thesis studies have found out that thesis as a major source of stress. Okay, because again, there is issue in selection of good idea or a topic for thesis. That is why with some supervisors or some candidature process, you would see that you would spend a lot of time at the beginning because the supervisor will expect you to do a lot of reading, but that is very important to really read and to really come up and understand. Again, these are the words we use, right? Conceptually, empirically, contextually, and philosophically, what you really want to do for your research and coming up with that topic. It's not about the title, but it's the whole context that you want to set for the PhD process or your master's research that level. Selection of that and not arriving to that can cause stress for people. But if you have a very clear direction on that, that is why, again, this is absolutely imperative and important for you to have that clear communication line with your supervisors. All right, healthy discussions, even with if you argue with something as a PhD candidate or a master's candidate, have you done your work? Have you gone back and do you have enough information to claim certain things when you're talking to your supervisors, because you are with them, because they are there to guide you and they are the experts of the field. So are you there to have a healthy argument and discussion in that sense of constructive context within the communication about your thesis, particularly with your supervisor? Your supervisor can support you in many other contexts as well. I've cried to my supervisor, to be honest, right? And they are there to support you. But then there are also moments when I say something, my supervisor like, Bamini, where's your evidence? How do you justify this method that you're proposing to me right now? And you're proposing for your thesis. Who have done this before? Why it worked? How will you ensure this will work? So all this, and how well prepared are we to do that? Okay. And also, again, ambiguity in thesis stages. Usually the ambiguity happens again in terms of methodology, whether I'm going to stick to quantitative context or qualitative. What is the philosophy again? How am I going to achieve this objective? Am I measuring and am I achieving this objective with the right methods that I have chosen? How will I justify to the examiner that if I use this method, I can arrive at the result from the objective that I have set. So ambiguity, there is always a question in that thesis stages. So that will also cause, again, a lot of stress, because statistical analysis can vary. They can be, you can use structured equation, you can use regressional method, you can do stata. There's a lot of software, a lot of methods. What is the best one to choose that even, and to be very well versed with the methods that we are choosing can again cause a lot of stress, and all those arguments you will have within different researchers before, why they use this method, why they didn't use that method, what am I supposed to do, those kind of things always causes a lot of stress. And lack of resources, again, perhaps, okay, this is another issue. Lack of resources in terms of how well can you access to database, can you access to journal articles. Sometimes because certain universities does not prescribe or subscribe to certain journal, then the student are unable to get those articles. But how are other ways ethically you can derive those articles for your research? You have to look into that context, because lack of resources can also be a source of stress during writing thesis. And also struggling in poor writing. Okay, poor writing means not poor English. Yeah, poor writing means to bring your context and to bring your critical idea and communicating and articulating it into your thesis. That usually creates a lot of stress for people. It's an art. Academic writing is an art, and that has to be parallelly improved from the beginning of your PhD stage. You cannot suddenly become an academic writing without doing proper, at least trying to write that in that way. Because some people, they can be a very good public speaking person. They can write it in a very media base, all right, or narrative writing they can do, but then they cannot articulate it in the academic language. It's a whole different world, and that requires, again, you need to take measurements for that. How much I'm reading, how much I'm looking into the style of soft writing, am I attending writing workshops, am I going for retreats? This is an effort that has to be taken from both party. That means your supervisors can suggest what you can do, as well as you as a PhD and master's candidate taking that measure. Okay, I always told people, just because you are good in English doesn't mean you are a great academician or academic writer. Okay, English helps to improve your articulation, but you need fundamental thought process to write academic work. So these are the things can cause people stress. Okay, and I am proud. Sometimes I have students who translates. They think probably in Tamil, or they think in Mandarin. Their thinking process is very high when they think in their own language, but they make that effort to translate that into English, and then improvising English, because we are all not native speakers or native writers. We will always have issues in grammar and struggle. I myself struggle. I get to the editor, but then editor's job is to look into the English, but then the supervisor's job is not to correct English. The supervisor will look into the context. Are you writing it in that perspective and with the evidence supporting it, interpreting it? This is the guidance the supervisors will give. All right, so these are the contexts, and that can cause stress not only for PhD students or master students, can cause stress for the supervisors when they read the work of a student as well. Okay. So another thing, also a source of stress. Again, perhaps these are the things you would have discussed earlier, okay, in that discussion group, the smaller breakup session, that when there is non-responsive supervisor, that is a very sad situation. But again, there is way you can mitigate all this. This is where the student support services how the faculty comes in, knowing what is your rights as a student. Non-responsive supervisors can cause a lot of stress because they're not responding to you. You're writing them emails, you're giving them your work, but they're not evaluating your work. They're not giving feedback to your work, right? And ineffective evaluations of your work. They're not giving you honest opinion. That means if you're not good, you're ready to open to receive to when the supervisor say you're not good. But then supervisor is also not telling you not good and you are good. They are not even saying that. That is dangerous, and that is where usually we can have a lot of stress, PhD and master student, because it's a relationship and that works. It's a success. Both parties will enjoy the success end of the day. The supervisor and the candidate, when they finish and complete, it is an achievement for both. It's a journey of both. So without one side of interaction, then it will cause stress. It's the same thing, yeah. As a PhD candidate and master student also, if you don't make the right effort to communicate with your supervisors also can be an issue. That means you are passive, you are quiet, you wait until they look for you. That can also cause stress. Okay. And then other socio-economic problem, as I mentioned, busy life, again, juggling with PhD. This is part-timers, they can juggle with PhD work or, a lot of things go on. How well are you, again, communicating this to your supervisor and striking the balance? Because earlier when we did that pool of words, balanced lifestyle. So busy life, lack of enough finances, and that's always been the issue, especially those who leave job and come and concentrate and do their PhD, and then they don't have enough source of income. Okay, and it was part of reality to me that, in 3 years, and then after that, I didn't have enough scholarship, and facing financial stress is a big thing, yeah, and especially when you need to pay a lot of money and try to juggle that and your fees, your family, your life, all that, yeah. And then fear of unemployment after graduation, and that is a great concern for a lot of people, and that causes stress because academic world. And the problem is also people associate always PhD means you must become an academic, not understanding that how wide is the option. You can become a director of data analysis and research actually with a PhD. There is industry that can employ you, but do you understand the opportunities out there? So fear of unemployment because academic world is very, very competitive right now. University wants to see whether you have journal publications, scopus, have you published, are you able to publish even as an early career academic? Can you do that? What is your track record even before they give you a tenure position? So that fear is also can cause a lot of stress, and then there is stress, anxiety, and other depression issues that comes in. These are the socio-economic problem. If that is there, then I am here again to just discuss a little bit more on the coping of stress and anxiety. What are the coping mechanisms that we can look at? Again, as I mentioned, there is no one size fit all, one formula that works for everybody, but these are the measures that we can take. So let's look at that. The first basic thing again, efficient communication, because I've been relating that from earlier on with your supervisors. Are you keeping track with what is the discussion? Are you clear with the guidance the supervisors are giving? If you're not clear, do you have the courage to tell them, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. Can you explain? All right. Further, can you take this further and make me understand more? And what are the things? And are you able to come back and check with them? Okay, have I followed this instruction? Can I suggest a little bit more on this when I do my methods? These are the efficient communication. Okay, and both level, the supervisor will play the role of a mentor, a coach, and also an academic expert. So to understand that role and to have that understanding from the beginning of your candidature. Okay, tak boleh, you can't afford to just go missing in one semester and come back another semester and put a proposal in front of their table. Okay, so these are the communication line, and again, working together, it's a partnership between you and your supervisor, and effective communication is essential. You find the mode of communication. It works well with them in email, or they like a face-to-face meeting, online meeting, which they prefer. What are the modes, how they instruct, understanding their style, and they will eventually understand your style, and coming into a synergy in that way will be of a great help, and that will reduce a lot of stress, because most of the time the feedback, just now I said, right, there is no feedback, there is no evaluation. So how do you communicate that in an efficient, respectful manner to your supervisors? That matters. Also among your colleagues, as I mentioned, then that even to get feedback from your colleagues, talk about your research. Sometimes both ways are, you need friends in the academic circle to throw out ideas and talk to them, to even get some, it's not validation, but just a perspective from them. You need those kind of colleagues, but you also need colleagues outside this circle. That worked for me. That means there are days I will go and meet my friends who are not doing PhD. They talk about all kind of funny things, have a coffee, talk about life, different stuff, and that gives a bit of a mental relaxation out of this. And that is also efficient communication. That means if you're stressed, sometimes your PhD colleague is also stressed, and you are talking, that's not helping both of you. It's not efficient communication. But if you are stressed and you just need to vent it out and talk to someone, find a friend, good friend of you, who don't mind you talking about it, just to speak it out, right? And friends and family as well. Sometimes we are very concerned also. We won't talk to our family, nanti dorang risau, they are worried about us. But again, it's important to talk to them. Like just now earlier, you know, that comic, the mother is expecting you to have a child when you're doing a PhD. It's clear communication. This is the support I need. You know, take me through, cook me a nice meal when I come on weekends. After all those weeks I go through, you know, these are the things I need from you all. Perhaps have that good flow of communication with your friends and family and colleagues. That's one coping mechanism. The other one is, again, as I mentioned, when we are talking about well-being, and most of us are adults in that sense, in age-wise, okay, we are more mature when we are doing our masters by research or postgraduate. Okay, again, analyzing the meaning, what brings meaning to your life. They have seen that it has intimate congruency when we are able to look into not monetary. Of course, we want PhD, we want to earn money. Beyond that, what life means to you, what brings you this contentment in your heart, that by doing small act of kindness, or by being generous to somebody, what is it, or by contributing to a bigger organization, or making a smaller impact, what brings meaning and purpose to you, and finding that, and then also aligning that into your, even looking at your thesis one day and reflecting, this is where my contribution, and that's going to give me that satisfaction when I do it. I'm contributing in a smaller manner. So this kind of finding this meaning and purpose will bring a lot of well-being. You can cope better with the stress by doing that. This is what the research shows. Having better belief give individual the feeling that there is a purpose and meaning to life. And so one of the research suggests that sense of purpose is created by having goals in life and a sense of direction, a clear direction. Okay, it's not that you're worried about what's going to happen. I have this potential. If I finish my PhD, these are the things I can do, and these are the places I can contribute. Purpose. Okay, finding that purpose, finding meaning in our life, in both past and present. and also holding belief that give our life purpose. And again, for me, some people are very direct and they have different personality also matters. Like for me, it means a lot. Purpose and meaning is a core thing for my life. So I will look into it and I will see what kind of impact I can make. So in that sense, again, well-being and talking to people about this is one of my, it brings a lot of satisfaction to me. So when I'm able to make a difference in that sense, whether chatting about it or talking about it, researching about it, all of that. So you can actually bring that into your PhD journey. That means trying to really find meaning and enjoying that journey in the process. So that is meaning and purpose. And another thing that really helped me, right, during my journey, again, entertainment, hobbies, and pets. Okay, now that means people, of course, put a lot of time to hobby. Okay, during PhD, it's not necessary you have to put all that time to fix your hobby. Okay, I'm going to buy this and that. That is distraction. Okay, that one can be total distraction, because just because I don't want to write my thesis, I find all other reason. I want to clean the house, I want to do, but as long as I don't touch my thesis, I'm okay. That is not that kind of distraction that I'm talking about. But once in a while, petting a dog or a cat, okay, even if you think you're so busy with your PhD and master's life that you got no time, you cannot commit to a dog and a cat, it's okay. You foster it from your friend. You go to your friend's house and just pet, because it's a good energy. Okay, these pets are loving to you, and it's a very beautiful energy that you can share with them, and that's good for your well-being. Okay, and find one hobby, like you can go diving just for a while, or you tanam pokok, touch the soil, work on the soil, just to distract for a while, keep your mind focus on some activity is really good. Okay, for your mental health and well-being. And entertainment, you want to watch a movie, you want to go for a theater, musicals, you choose, and then what works for you. And it, again, I had a foster dog during my entire PhD, and I'm very grateful to the person and Sophie, the dog's name, all right, because it helped a lot. Sometimes I didn't want to connect with human beings, but I needed to connect with these fur balls, So I am very grateful, because it was such a relaxing thing for me to do when I spend time and take the dog for a walk, pet the dog, brush the dog, all that. This is, again, totally my own experience during my PhD. Okay, so it can vary, but you can choose to do that as part of it. And another important thing that, again, we spoke about it, lack of sleep, lack of eating, right? Sleep has been researched. This is, again, a proper research is one of the best known and most consistent risk factor related to depression, anxiety, and it can host of other mental and physical health issue as a PhD candidate. If you don't sleep properly, it's okay, you have a working pattern. That means if you think you are a person who have to work at night, you cannot work during the day. I've seen my colleague like that, they work at night. I am not, like Dr. Yanti said, I wake up at 4 in the morning to meditate, so I have to close my day earlier. I have to keep that balance, you see. I cannot work throughout the night, but I've done my portion during my PhD. I've walked back from the university at 2 in the morning in a winter. That I've done when it's necessary. I've done it, but I am a person who's really good in the morning. So you need to find that pattern when you can work, when you are focused time, use that for your PhD work and master's work, but yet do not compromise on the sleep. And my question here today for you to think is quality or quantity. People will say, and there is a lot of research, I'm not an expert of this research, all right? They say 8 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep. And for me also, in my own experience, it's matter of the quality of your sleep. If you are having 4 hours real good quality sleep, rather than you think so much even before you going your preparation to go to bed, thinking too much even before you go to bed will actually disturb your sleep pattern. How caffeine can affect your sleep pattern. It's really important for you to understand that, because if you don't have enough quality and quantity of your sleep, you are like zombie. And again, that will put us into the vicious cycle. We'll complain, we are irritated. It's not only the PhD stress, and just because lack of sleep, people can show irritation. You are like a drunk at times. You can't think, you cannot focus properly. So this is an antidote for your stress. Sleep really well, but take measure. Again, how you want to go to sleep. There are ways and methods. Probably I won't have enough time to talk about it, but you can do a bit of research on how to have a quality and quantity of sleep. And this is also a topic that is very fond to me, and it is definitely a helping. It's a great tool. Either you meditate, pray, or do silent reflection, or practice mindfulness and self-care. Because studies show that there is a significant relationship between spiritual well-being and mental health, and also how you perform as a student. Okay, in that sense, again, meditation is an art. You don't meditate one day and see the results the next day. It is a consistent practice. It's an art. Again, are you able to withdraw from everything that you do, sit for a while in silence, reflect, and maintain one level of thought? Like you're talking about, maybe link it to the meaning and purpose. Maybe you're talking about love to the humanity, or love for the self, or love for your family, and really experiencing that, going deeper into that, right? And then able to reflect that in your life. Okay, so those kind of meditation practice, what happens is, for me, and as being a practitioner and a student of meditation, or praying or silent, because you see people sometimes say praying is a form. Yes, do that. That means, all these efforts that we do, like some of our friends pray for 5 times, is part of their routine to pray. That is so good, because I also call that traffic control. That means, can I take a minute and just go stop everything that I do and be silent for a while, and leave room for thoughts to come, inspirations to come, focus to come back, reset to the focus. Will I be able to do that like every 1 hour? Can I take 2 minutes break to do that? And then during the evening or morning, just start the day with a lot of silence, a lot of meditation, in the sense that, again, focused thought. That means, am I able to sustain one form of thought, one positive thought for a longer period of time, and experience that? Because those time of mental relaxation, and when you give room to that, that brings a lot of focus, and you can see there will be solution, because informations are there already. You have read a lot, but then too much information and not giving time for it to settle down, and then for your mind to process it properly, you need to give yourself a bit of time during the day, whether again through prayer, silent reflection about your work or about your life, all that. And then practicing mindfulness. That means, if I am bathing, am I really bathing and experiencing? If I am in front of my friend, am I able to give 100% attention to my friend and that moment that I have with them, rather than putting my mind into, because we won't have any results, because your friend is there and you are giving that attention, and you experience that. So because by practicing this kind of mindfulness, when you are writing, your mind also will be trained not to go somewhere else when you are writing. That means, when you're writing, you're writing. When you're with your friends, you're with your friends. When you're watching a movie, you watch a movie. That is mindfulness. That means you're present at that time and you are focused in that time. And that's what, for me, the mindfulness have helped, and meditation has helped me throughout the process. That is major thing, I always talk to people about it. So again, that will be another session, even if people ask how to meditate. Yeah, there's a lot of techniques, a lot of ways. Find out which works for you, which of these method even works for you, and spare some time for it. Self-care isn't selfish. If you tell your friends, this week I'm going to just withdraw for a bit, I'm going to spend a bit time with myself and do reflection, and that is not selfishness, right? That is self-care, and that is essential, and it's okay to do that, in my experience. Yeah, that is in that sense. Sorry. And also, please, 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 this is one of it, eat well. Okay, perhaps again financial issue and all of that, but again revise a lot of MSG, a lot of Maggie. It's not going to help. At least gantila, simple things like junk food with apple, or talk to some people, talk to your wellness person or your nutrition person. If you can't, even just research for yourself what works, because it's very difficult for me to tell these are the food. I'm not again a nutritionist or expert, but eating well is important. And if you see that there is these signs, you cannot eat well and you're anxious, you need to talk to people about it, and you need to work it out that way. Yeah, eat healthy meals, good portion, right? So that is nampak simple, but these are realistic measures, I can say. And then of course, exercise, if you can make time for that. It worked for me, right? I was very active in the sense that I used to go for at least a dancing session, that is organized by the university. I tak adalah bayar. I didn't go and pay and attend a dancing class. I'm not asking you to do that. But if you're anywhere that they have associations that provides free dancing class or exercises, like there are some Zumba and everything happening over the weekend. People meet in the park, okay, with the social distancing. You can join that, or have a exercise routine, you go to the gym or something. But it is a proven fact that have confirmed that positive correlation between exercise and mental health in university student. So find that moving your body, again, it doesn't have to be not only the modern exercises. You can do qigong, you can do moving meditation kind of exercises, as long as something that you are secreting from your body, like the chemicals like endorphin, right? Endorphins are good mood chemicals. It gives you a good feeling when you do it. That's what they say, and that's what research shows. So you see, through this, again, I found a lot of good friendship when I was dancing salsa during my PhD. So these are the friends you go out and look for when you don't want to talk about academic. Okay, this is part of, again, a social circus. You can form friendship, you can beat depression and anxiety. You can feel you are a bit in control when you're doing these exercises. It gives you good mood. All right, and all this, again, eating well, sleeping well, exercising well, these are all the physical care that you give for yourself during this time of stress. Okay. And if you really need to, then call somebody, call your friends. Sometimes it's very, very stressful. You propose something, your supervisor is not totally agreeing to that, and you don't know how to convince him, and they are constantly bombarding you, questioning you, and you're so stressed. Then call somebody, call and talk to your friends, family. It's okay to cry. I was mentioning to Dr. Yanti just now, they've done research that one of the coping mechanism is to cry out during PhD. Okay, so whatever that can release your tensions and work out your stress, do that. And this is one thing I do as well. I call my best friends when they are far away from I am, but that communication really helps to have good friends. And also you can do digital detox. Okay, it's up to you. It's not an absolute. Again, this is not the formula. Then a lot of people will argue, oh, nanti macam mana my email, my supervisor email, you ask me to do no, it's it at your own convenience, because sometimes, and this in this digital era, we have to really look into what are the thought process in our head, what are the informations we are taking into our kepala, in our head. Are they productive? Are they informative to you, or is it just all kind of uninformed opinions in the media? Is that doing any good into my mental process and thought process, especially during my PhD when I already have something to focus on? So, choose the articles that you want to read, choose how much social media time you want to give yourself. Okay, choose what kind of platform you want to go, what kind of interactions you want to have. It's a choices that we can make, because again, information overload is not really a healthy thing for our mental health as well. Okay, so we can look into those digital detox as well. So just to recap, today's recapping means we spoke a lot about what causes stress, but I am recapping here how to overcome stress whilst working on your dissertation. Again, social involvement is essential. Don't isolate. There are times you want to isolate and write, it is good, right? There are days I just go away from, even from the university. I go away from my friends and I just sit in a cafe near somewhere, and my focus is to write. There are days I will not work from the university. I'll work from my home just to focus on certain writing. There are days I spend on weekends also. Sometimes I go to the university. So, and then social involvement, isolation is good, but yet social involvement is essential. That means talking to your colleagues and friends. Engage in fun activity, as I said, some kind of hobbies, and look into your self-development as well, on what you are good at. What are the skills you have developed so far while doing your PhD? What are the skills you had prior which can help in your PhD? Okay, and meditate and spend time in your spiritual growth, because we need IQ, we need emotional intelligence to deal with people. We also need spiritual intelligence to deal with the larger perspective of life, in our cognitive development. So spiritual health is also very important. So I would suggest that meditation involved in physical activity, as I said, and then improve your organizational skills. This is where we will come in a bit. Select right journal articles, read the right information, be very well informed in your entire PhD process. That is why how much articles you're reading, not the quantity, but the quality of articles, and extraction of the right amount of information. Right? Be open-minded. It's okay for people to criticize your work. Be constructive-minded and take it very positively. Again, that also, it's an art. Sometimes people cannot take criticism because from childhood they were not criticized by their family and friends. The perfection attitude at times, it's very dangerous. So to have an open mind and to receive critics from your supervisor, nanti marah-marah dengan supervisor, marah-marah, angry with a friend because they cannot say anything about the thesis. But then how can I really look? Oh, this is a perspective that they have. Why would they think that way? Perhaps I'm not looking at something that I am supposed to look at. Because it's a very humbling process. Whatever you learn, sometimes you have to just relearn it. You have to unlearn the entire process and relearn. So it's a very humbling process. So keep an open mind to that entire process. Otherwise, again, there will be a lot of stress. And of course, time management. That is another thing, procrastination, putting on hold. I will do it tomorrow. Let me finish this Netflix series for a while. I've done too much work. Let me watch this for a while and I will do it tomorrow. Procrastination and not having time management is a bigger context of stress. So look into learning time management if you think that's the help you need. And now, another thing, end of the day, why am I talking about all this is the major thing. Finalizing the thesis helps you to reduce your stress. Okay, so when you are starting your, whoever, now I'm not sure, you can be in the first year of your PhD and master's, you can be in the second or third year. But what is important is from the beginning till the end to have the vision of your thesis. Okay, even to start off with a content, what it's going to be, it's essential to organize it. And end of the day, the struggle with a lot of people, this is observation only. I'm not giving you like entire significant numbers, but a lot of struggle is people will get through the entire process until they collect their data, and then the whole thing will slow down at the point of writing their conclusion and putting the thesis together and telling the supervisor, I am done. Because sometimes you create that kind of fear and attachment to the work that you don't want to let go for feedbacks, don't want to let go for constructive criticism, and you have fear what will happen, and you do what will happen to my life if I submit this thesis, those kind of things. So start thinking about the finishing process from the early part itself. Keep an aim. 3 years, I'm going to get this done. Okay, what are the things I'm going to do? The timeline that I create. Even it's not like a Gantt chart in your proposal. This is your personal timeline that you create. You can talk about it even to your supervisors if it requires. Okay, expectation of your supervisor. And what are the administrative process that is involved? Because a lot of time and a lot of struggle is student not understanding the administrative process of their entire thesis. Okay, learn that will help you to have a smoother process in finalizing your thesis. That's number one. Start thinking about the thesis early. Have a vision on how you want it, and finished document. We are talking about, you have to have that vision of finished document. No, I'm going to do the proposal first. No, what will happen? How will my finished document? Visualize it, visionize it. Okay, break down what is left to do in categories. Again, at the end, this is the thing. People will lab work. Lab work means I'm talking about when you are spending a lot of time analyzing your data. Okay, and writing it. So categorize it. When I am analyzing, I'm focusing on analyzing and interpreting the data now. When I put that together, how am I going to write the discussion part of it? And is my literatures updated? If not, what I'm going to do about it until the end of my candidature? Is my literatures updated? So put that into categories and work on it. These are some tips that I can give. And this is so important again. I'm not sure how binge writing works for people, but to have certain routine, try to find a writing strategy and routine that works for you. Like I said, whether your brain works in ultimate performance at 4 in the morning, then be so. Sit and write it at that time, but keep a routine. No, my brain works at 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't know from where all this inspiration will come to me. I can write. Then work your schedule out in a way. But then trying to binge writing and trying to put everything together at one, and you don't write for 2 months, and then suddenly supervisor asks something and you want to, that will cause a lot of chaos and stress. And most of the time we try to just pick up things and put together. And good supervisors will recognize that, and examiners will recognize that. And that is not a good thought process, a cognitive process, a critical thinking process, because you need that slow, smooth consistency of writing to create that. So find that routine when you do get feedback again. Friends means maybe sometimes again your friends who is out of the field, they can give you some perspectives as well. Get feedbacks from them. Like if I were to talk about my PhD in the most layman way to a community, how am I going to do it? Can I make people understand that within a minute or two or three? Okay, so but then also technically, if I'm going to write it for a Scopus journal, then how am I going to improve that language that I write? Also matters, the technical things that matters. Also, in this process, it is also important as a PhD and master student to understand how much of my work that I do for thesis I can actually publish out and keep it in my thesis. What are the procedures in the university? Can I just take everything that I write in my thesis and publish and put it back into my thesis again? To understand all this, and nanti kalau tidak, if you don't come up understand all this process, at the end when people say your work is published and why is it in your thesis which is not published, how am I going to cite that? What will I do with it? Is it ethical? Is it unethical? Understand those kind of process as well. This is where I meant look into all the procedures and process of the university, understand what is the thesis writing style and the citation reference style of the university. They have certain standards that they maintain. Are you maintaining it from the beginning of your candidature? Because do not underestimate how much of a pain formatting can be. Okay. Of course, we have editors, you can pay people to format your thesis, yes, but then you as an author, you as a research candidate need to understand the entire process and be involved in the process as well. And end of the day, of course, in finalizing thesis, to reduce the effect of your stress, make time to stop and look after yourself and keep reflecting on what you are doing, the sense of purpose, meaning of your life, what are the things you can do that makes some kind of contribution. Like I used to go and volunteer on Thursday nights. It's just my routine. I go and volunteer in feeding homeless people. It was some kind of satisfaction for me. It's just nothing to do with my thesis, right? But you take a bit of time to do those kind of things that really means so much to you, something close to your heart. Okay, you don't have to talk about to people, but if that brings that kind of level of contentment and satisfaction, again beyond material possessions, like some people say I need I've done this much of writing, I'm going to buy a handbag. That's fine. Do what you call that, gratify yourself for everything that you do. Small gratification is good. To celebrate small milestones are also very good. Yeah, celebrate with your friends and family. You went through your PD, and then you went through your mid candidature, you went through your final candidature, completion seminar you have done. You have published a paper, even though at the proceeding level, Q4 ka, Q1 ka, with your supervisor, with yourself. Celebrate all these moments. They are and gratify yourself for all of that as well. And when there are challenges, the same way you have friends to celebrate, I am sure you will have a circle of social friends that you can talk about these challenges. Maybe they cannot provide you solutions, but they are there at least to clear your mindset. Okay, so that takes to the end. I will open up for question and answer and discussions further if there are. Okay, so that brings to end of the where you celebrate. You will complete, and there will be a day you can visualize and you can see yourself celebrating this journey that you have taken with your friends, with your family, and with yourself. So that's from me for today. If there is not too much, then yes, we can open up for question and answers. You can use your mic or the chat box.
Do you have
to
any
talk.
questions for
And
Dr.
yeah,
Bami?
somebody's talking about backup. Of course, now we cannot give reasons. We cannot backup our documents, check up computer crash, because we have this excellent Google document where you can save on cloud, buy even cloud space if it is necessary. Invest on a real good machine. That's your for PhD. Bukan apalah, not to waste your money, but this system works for you. Invest on it and back up your documents. I don't think so these days people entertain the fact that my computer got lost, because self-email, there's so many ways to protect your document. You can self-email, you can email it to your professor, you can create a Google Drive. If you are part of an institution, you are powered by their system. Therefore, you can do backups to your documents as well. Yeah, like Dr. Sylvester says, every moment is worth it in the entire process. But it's learning to enjoy the process, and it's okay to be not okay at times. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bamini, for the interesting topic. Yeah, managing yourself during your PhD journey is not easy. Was it worth it, Doctor?
Oh,
Was it worth it?
every bit of it.
Every bit of it, although the tears and everything. Yeah.
Yes, every bit of it.
Okay. Do you have any question? If you have any question to Dr. Bamini, you might be asking, how about those who are, yeah, maybe Dr. Bam, those who has kids, Dr. Bam, macam mana Dr. Bam? Like
Okay.
me, you know?
I call all of them super moms and super dads. Okay, because the challenge is I wouldn't be able, I've observed, I have absolute respect for them, like total respect to those mothers. And for those who, they are like so focused, I think they are more focused than the single ones at times, because they have priorities. It's important to place that priority. That means, they can actually care for all the children, put them in the school. And I had a colleague who will bring a toddler on her thing and put her into the nursery, RMIT nursery, and then she'll come and do her work, and then lunchtime run again, take the child back home, continue to the work. They are just like they have superpower or something. But it is a real struggle, but it's unbelievable what they can do, and they are inspirations to us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
and family support is important in that sense. Spousal support, again, effective communication with your spouse and telling them what exactly they do is a support for you. Like how much you can share the chores of the house, what you can do at your level, because you can't take all in as well as those who have family. You can't try to juggle, and you want to take care, feed your husband, feed your wives or children all the time. That will drain you. You need to work it out. And again, depends on the culture that we are in, how much we can have that communication, and how much our family or our spouses are willing to support that. I have seen both. I've seen where situation where there are abusive husbands, they don't even care, and how they struggle. And I've seen a beautiful relationship where the husband supports so much to the core of her success. So both scenarios have met, and these people have finished their PhD as well. So it's I think placing priority is important.
There's a
And
question here,
managing the
Dr.
time,
Bam.
managing the time.
There's a question here from, I think, Dr. Sylvester. What is your opinion about procrastination during postgraduate study?
Yeah, procrastination is a serious sign. Okay.
How long you can procrastinate?
Oh, it's a very difficult question to answer, because again, some people like to work under pressure. They procrastinate and then they try to do, but it's not healthy. That is why you can see the high blood pressure, people collapse during PhD because you procrastinate. And that is why, again, time management, what is urgent, what is important, what is your priority, managing that really well, whether through an app or through writing it. Like I still write what is urgent, like what is priority. I still write what to do in my normal daily task. So I akan ambil paper. I take paper and write out. Oh, I must contact this PhD student. I must contact my master student. What are they doing? What I'm going to do today? Especially those who are working and who are in the academic, like a lot of our, if we see our China students from international, from China, they're academic themselves doing their PhD. They have a lot of teaching load, already. They are teaching while they are doing PhD. It's not easy as well with your teaching load and then a lot of information, and then you have to take care of your own PhD information management, So yeah, if possible, get help, get a coach or get help to come out of procrastination. That is why making every task small and
Yes.
categorizing it helps rather than big chunk.
Doctor, they said, time flies when we're having fun, but also time flies when you're doing your PhD, right?
Yes,
Right?
and
It flies very fast.
flies very fast. And if you're not updating your writing and waiting to put it
There
all
goes your
together at the
3 years.
end, might not help. That is like just a little bit you write to keep the flow of your thought process, because nanti it will become rustic. And then you say, oh, I got no motivation to write because I didn't write. You are going into that vicious cycle.
Circle again.
Yeah. So it's like some people, they are so consistent doing their exercise because they know the importance of it. It's the same thing when you are training your mind to do exercise, is where you write. Your brain is working constantly. Then it's because then when there is very important critical to write, you already have the flow happening. You won't get stuck, because getting stuck will create stress again. So I would suggest again, have a schedule, do your planning, and break down all the activities, even writing activities. I say 25 minutes and then take a break, 25 minutes, chunk in a smaller categories and write. So that would be my response. Hopefully I'm answering Dr. Sylvester. It's very dangerous, procrastination during postgraduate. Some they can argue, no, procrastination is good. I'm not sure in what level, but I always say to people, procrastinating your negative action and thought is very good. If you're going
So
to say
that's a
something
suggestion
negative,
from
if you're going to
Dr.
say something negative to people, procrastinate that. That's very good. Put a hold. You keep it longer, as long as you can. Procrastinate. Procrastinate overthinking. Yes. Procrastination is good for all this, but it's not good to do
in
good
your
things.
in your
Yeah. For your progress, don't procrastinate. But it's going to harm somebody if you're going to say that word and you're going to shoot that email to your professor and say something terrible because you're not happy with their comment. Procrastinate that. I would say.
If you look at the comment section there, Dr. Sylvester suggested that a YouTube channel, yeah? Maybe the other students, postgraduate student can go on Professor Tara
Yes.
Brabazon on PhD journey in
Yes.
every facet of the
These
journey.
are,
Yes. Thank you,
these
Dr.
are
Sylvester.
all interesting things we can watch and learn. There are, coping mechanism pun kita boleh learn. We can read about it. How to meditate also. We can find focus music to keep us focused when we are writing. These are things that we can pull from the internet sources. That is why, which are the information that we want. We have the choices to make, right?
Okay, Dr. Bam, is there any
Thank
more
you.
questions?
If there is no other questions anymore,
I would just like to
thank you.
thank Dr. Bamini for your sharing session on this student well-being, which is very, very important. I forgot to mention just now, currently Dr. Bamini has 4 master students and 5 PhD students, if I'm not mistaken, Doctor?
Perhaps 3 that yes, probably combined,
Yes.
yes. But it's been a great journey and pleasure.
Yeah,
And
now
once they are finishing, that will be the joy for both of us.
exactly. So, Dr. BAMINI is also the expert in marketing, yeah, Dr. Bam, and a well authored in Q1, Q2 journals.
So yes, again, anyone has anything where we are very happy to open up for discussions in the future. You know, you want to talk about mixed methodologies and any philosophical context of research, I'm very happy to talk about it to y'all. Do reach out to me, to reach out to the Postgraduate Center. Again, know your rights, know what facilities you access to the university, know your process really well, understand the process, writing process, formatting process. All that will help you in the journey. Believe. And I thanking again the postgraduate section of the faculty and also for all the feedbacks and these interesting interaction sessions we had. That matters to me because it's not the one-way thing that we look for nowadays. It's your experience during this workshop and this talk or whatever you gained out of it matters to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So
See you
before
all.
we leave, maybe we can take photo.
Yes,
Puan
sure. Yeah,
Annie,
that'll be great.
let's switch on our camera.
Yeah, Dr. Sylvester, thank you so much for your active participation and involvement and
Sylvester,
everyone
we
else.
have not met.
And
Sylvester is
yeah,
from
Dr.
Malaysia.
Sylvester from Faculty of Food Science.
Hi,
He's a
Dr.
dear
Sylvester.
colleague of mine.
I see. Thank you for joining us, or from Food Science.
That's Nizar, my students.
He's coming for his
Proposal defense
proposal
next
defense
week.
next week. Yeah. Wendy, oh my God.
Yeah.
Where he's in the train. This is okay, Marcila. Okay. Can we take photo? Siapa namanya nih? Siapa namanya nih? Elizabeth. Puan Elizabeth ambil gambar.
Ya, boleh dokter.
Okay, kita tunggu dulu. Zaris, hi Zaris.
Oh, Zaris is here. All right.
Zaris is your student, is it?
No, he's with tourism, right?
Belvinda.
Zaris?
Dr. Belvinda kan? Yes.
We work together on.
Okay, smile.
Smile, everybody.
Smile.
Miss Mary is also here. Mary, I miss you.
Okay, smile.
All right, so keep smiling. Be happy.
Be happy.
To ask your friends when you meet them, not that they have children or not, ask them if they're happy with their life.
Betul.
Have deeper conversations.
Don't add more stress to your friend, yeah.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great day ahead and a week. We'll see and do reach out if it's important. Yeah, bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye. Thank you,
Thank
doctor.
you, Puan Elizabeth. Thank you, Puan Elizabeth, for your technical assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.